All right, so we're gonna take a sort of a segue out of pointers here, and we're gonna make a video about hexadecimal and hexadecimal is it. So as we've been doing, and go to Wikipedia. We're not gonna go there. Go to Wikipedia. Hexadecimal. So let's read a little bit here, see what we get. Mathematics and computer science. Hexadecimal is a positional numeral system with a radix or base of 16. Do we need to know about radixes and things like that? We're going to talk about them without actually calling it a radix, but it uses 16 distinct symbols, most often the symbols 0 through 9 to represent values 0 to 9, just like we do in the regular decimal system. And A, B, C, D, E, F, or alternatively A through F to represent values 10 to 15. For example, the hexadecimal number 2A F3 is equal in decimal to something, 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 or 10,995. If you want to, you could break out a calculator and say the result of this operation is value plus the result of this operation plus the result of this plus the result of this, and I don't know the hell that we'll do it. You know what? We're not going to do it. I'm not going to bother with that. But suffice to say, that's how do you convert from hexadecimal to the decimal system? Something like this. You can see that the exponents here are decreasing. So there's an exponent of 3, and then you subtract 1, it gets to 2. You subtract 1, it gets to 1, and then you subtract 1, it goes to 0. There is something involved. We could probably click on radix here, and it'll give us some relatively in-depth explanation about what's the base 10, what's the base 16, what's base 2. Those are the three. Again, we're gonna sort of touch on that a little bit, but we're gonna minimize this. So in the context of cheat engine and in the context of how we're gonna deal with it in this series, we're gonna adopt. We don't care whether well, first we're gonna use 0 through 9. So that's fine. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just sort of list what's the valid hexadecimal value for our purposes here. It's A through F, capital, or it's A through F, lowercase. Put a little space here. These two, equivalent. Whether it's uppercase, lowercase, we don't care. Cheat engine, as a fundamental thing, does not care. What is why do some people, only do it in all caps? Because there is a convention. It's not a universal convention. Some people disagree and say, well, obviously it's anyone who doesn't follow the convention is, a total retard and whatnot. We're not going to get into any of that sort of philosophical nonsense. We're just going to say that there is a convention in computer science that when you're typing a hexadecimal number, you do it in caps. So that convention does exist. Some people do follow it. We are not going to constrain ourselves and say that every hexadecimal value we ever type in the entire series is going to be. As a matter of fact, we've already broken that rule in previous videos when I think about it. But I don't really care about that. For our purposes, we're just going to say could be capital, could be lowercase. We mean the same thing. So what do we have? We have 0 through 9. We have A through F. So what's that doing for us? In hexadecimal, as we read before, 0 through 9 is the value 0 through 9, just like in the decimal system. So what we said. So let's do a little comparison here. What is the value 0? And just as far as our regular everyday decimal system, it is 0. What is that? We're gonna put a little label here. Decimal 2. Is really what we mean by that, hexadecimal. So basically, we're just gonna sort of. I can't type very well, clearly. What is 0 in decimal? It's 0. We all know that. What's hexadecimal? 0. What is 5? It is 5. These have the exact same value. What is 9? It is 9. Where these two systems diverge is, as it says up here, A, B, C, D, and F represent values 10 to 15. How do we express 10 in decimal? We do it by just typing 10. How do we do it in hexadecimal? We do it with A. 11 is B, 12 equals C, 13 is E, 50, or is it 4? Yeah, 14 is F. Did I just screw that up? 10 A, B, C. Yep, I did, because I'm completely retarded. So yeah, now that we've accounted for my retardedness, 10 is A, 11 is B, 12 is C, 13 is D, 14 is E, 15 is F. So what does this do for us? Well, we'll read on a little bit more in the article. Each hexadecimal digit represent, again, we're talking in the context of computer science or mathematics, but mostly for our purposes, computer science. Each hexadecimal digit represents 4 bits. In the primary use, a hexadecimal notation is a human-friendly representation of binary coded values in computing and digital electronics. Binary coded probably has some crazy technical definition, but for our purposes, what we're going to say is that a human-friendly representation of binary values, period. So let's say we wanted to represent 0. We'll make a new thing. We'll go from decimal to hexadecimal. So we're going to do, no, we're going to do hexadecimal. We're going to go from the highest to the lowest. Hexadecimal to decimal to binary. So instead of doing what we did up top, the first little sort of makeshift heading here, what we're going to do is we're going to make up a hexadecimal value. Then we're going to say what it is in decimal. Then we're going to say what it is in binary. This is probably I don't know, 15. What do you require? 4. I don't know, 8. I don't know, some bit pattern. We're gonna pull up some online thing. I'm not gonna do this crap. I mean, if I had to really sit down and think about it, I do, but or I could, but I don't. Do I know how to write in C? Sure, but I currently what I do professionally is I write in somewhat higher level languages, so generally I'm not flying between these three numbering systems. Are there people out there who write in C constantly and do pointer arithmetic and things like that? Can they convert huge numbers into the fly? And are there like mental tricks that you can use? Absolutely. And some of those people are probably saying, I'm totally retarded because I can't do that. That's fine. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna say that there are tricks that you can use in your head to convert these values, and I probably should know how to just take that and stuff it into binary. When you get into like larger numbers and things like that, it gets a little more tricky. But one, I'm just maybe I don't know something that I should, and two, we're trying to deal with a general audience, so I want to be as explicit as possible. So for our purposes here, we're just going to do go to Google, hexadecimal to binary conversion. We're going to use a table. We're not going to use an online thing. We're just going to use see if we can find just a regular table. Decimal, hexadecimal. We have octal, and then we have binary. This is not the easiest table to read. The octal is sort of smashed together there with the binary stuff. This is a little more simple. So there you go. 15 hexadecimal. In fact, it was 4 ones. See, if I had actually been smarter and maybe if I wasn't recording the video and not being somewhat self-conscious about what I'm saying and that people are going to be watching it, what I would have immediately been able to deduce is that the article is literally telling you right here, each hexadecimal digit represents 4 bits. So what's the max amount that a hexadecimal digit can represent? It's 15, it's F, so we know it's 4 bits. What's the max value of 4 bits? It's a 1 in every bit. There you go. Again, if I wasn't being self-conscious and retarded, I might have thought that up, but I'm a bit self-conscious sometimes when I'm doing these videos and not as sharp as I should be. So, whatever the case may be, let's play with this a little more. Hexadecimal is value 5. Is decimal value 5. What's that value in binary? Let's go over here. It's 0101. Now, how are these bits being arranged? We're not going to jump into that. What we are saying is that instead of typing 0101 in binary, which nobody wants to do, and we're certainly not going to do, and it exists. The reason we don't have to do this is so well understood and so widely accepted by computer science that there's almost no programming language that allows you to screw around with bits or type values in this fashion. Are there some out there that do it? Sure, and you can do what's called bit anding and oring and things like that. If you really want to do that, you could. I don't know, what are we jump to? We just do XOR. I'm sure there's no other article like that. If you wanted to, you could read about here. It's a logical operation symbolized, by conditions, operands, all sorts of bits, things like that. That's probably the more abstract article, but it certainly goes. At some point, it'll link right into to computer science and how it's applicable to that topic. But again, we're talking about just basically what is hexadecimal. Hexadecimal is just a way of expressing numbers that are perfect, that are expressible in decimal or any other numbering system, but there's a logical correlation between with one digit in hexadecimal, we can express what we mean as far as the value of 4 bits. And when you sort of apply that to what we've been talking about as far as bit patterns and things like that, say you want to, do some or deal with some value, and instead of having to, figure out what's the bit pattern, and I don't know, it's probably maybe something like that. How many digits we do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 14, 16. 16 bits. I don't. Is it really 16 bits? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's 16. Damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now it's 6 bits. Whatever. That's 16 bits. Do we want to type that kind of crap every time? Do we want to, well, what's the value in our head that we're, because we generally humans deal with decimal just because that's how we're raised. What's the value of, as decimal? What's the value of 100, 1052 in binary? I'm sure, is there one person on the planet who can just look at that and be like, oh, well, it's this, in binary? Maybe. I'm not going to unequivocally say there's not, but if we want to express this bit pattern and we know hexadecimal, a much more concise way to express 16 bits with hexadecimal, because each digit in hexadecimal represents 4 digits, we only need 4. This is not the right pattern. This would be all ones, but we would only need 4 hexadecimal values to express this, because each digit is 4, and 4 bits. And then we have 4 characters here, so 4 bits times 4 characters in hex, or 4 letters in hex, 4 digits in hexadecimal is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. We can express this whole concept with this. Now we can do it in 4 digits, or with 4 digits in decimal, but it's inconvenient for a variety of reasons. And let's see if we can make this a little more concrete. So we're just gonna do online. We're already there. I don't know. Whatever. So I'm clearly not doing myself any favors with this video. What's the hex value? I don't know. We'll make something up. AF0D V5. What is this value? How many digits are we using? 6. How many digits are we using? A decimal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're increasing the amount of digits that we need to express in decimal by that. What is this in binary? Some ridiculous amount. So let's see if we can, I don't know, can we just change it here and the thing will, it's letting us do that? No. We only have to change it down here. We'll make this a little bigger. Let's do this. F, 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 F. Again, this decimal value is, what is this value in hexadecimal? It's all F's. What is this value of all F's in decimal? It's some just crazy string. What do we got? 655, 710, so 976 million, 474 billion, 281 trillion. It's a huge number to have to deal with. What is it in binary? It's all going to, again, F is the max value for a single digit. So you take, 4 bits of this F, multiply it, or you sort of break that down. What is F? Well, it's 4 binary digits, all with a value of 1. So you're going to have 1 digit there, 1 digit there. And they mean the exact same thing. It's just that hexadecimal is a convenient way because you can express a bit pattern of 4 bits with 1 digit, and it's more conducive to the environment that we are going to be operating in, and that computers generally deal with addresses and things, as we've seen in hexadecimal value. So, what is hexadecimal? Sort of see if we can maybe summarize this and somewhat see if we can summarize this. Hexadecimal is just a numbering system that allows us to express bit patterns in a way that is more intuitive than decimal. And as a result, if you're questioning, that sort of conclusion, then just ask yourself, why does almost every computer in existence, some of them use octal and things like that. Sure, you can look up octal if you want to sort of dive into that. But why does a lot of computers under the sun use hexadecimal to deal with memory addresses and things? Well, it's because of what we just said. It is a more convenient way to express bit patterns with smaller, conciser ways. And that's it. And again, I mean, if you want to challenge that assumption, you can read more articles on that. But we are just, purposes of this series, we're going to assume that that's true.